True story. I had a very, very entertaining, interesting evening with Ryan Garcia. I had a little dinner at PBD's house. They would just finish it because he's been on the PBD podcast. Ryan Garcia has. So when they finished taping, I was trying to meet up with PBD. He's like, why don't you come to my house for dinner? So Ryan Garcia was there. And let me tell you, it was a wild dinner. I mean, he dominated the conversation with PBD. PBD's a big personality who usually kind of dominates the room. Ryan Garcia kind of took it over. And then that was before he kind of lost his mind. He had the whole thing where he went like off the deep end. And then he said he was like the rope-a-dope.
Any fight.
Yeah. And it was like, and it was just so bizarre. Where does he go from here? I actually liked him. Like, I like people that are passionate about what they do. I actually liked Ryan Garcia, but then you hear all this. I'm like, I hope he's okay. And I remember asking PBD about that. Where does his career go from here, Ryan Garcia?
That's a phenomenal question. And before my computer goes dead, I find out that I didn't plug it. Let me plug it in. Just give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Plug it in because the dinner I had with him was insane. And I remember after the dinner, PBD comes up to me and he goes, hey, we're going to have another dinner because we didn't get any words in. Like, we were just listening the whole time. But he is a polarizing figure, and it does feel like his career is at a crossroads. Where does Ryan Garcia go from here?
I believe he's getting ready to fight Mario Barrios, which is a world title fight, which is kind of huge for him.
Yeah.
It's a big... I'm a believer, and I know Ryan Garcia is a believer in God and Christ, and I just pray for that guy because he's good, but he's also... I think we're seeing our very first really big time social media star / legit pro fighter going through the ebbs and the flows of being a social media star on top of being a very public figure in boxing too. And I think it's gotten to the kid. I mean, there was 3 or 4 years ago, he took a whole year off because of mental health and he claimed that. And then he comes back and fights. And then that, like you said, that Devin Haney lead up, man, I was really weirded out by it. I was wondering if he was kind of putting the world on and trying to trick us all. And when he won, I was like, maybe he was, but I don't think so. I think that was real. I don't think he was faking that stuff that he did leading up to that fight.
He claimed he did. Because he came on with PBD after that fight and he said it was like a rope-a-dope. He said, you ever heard of the rope-a-dope? I know, but it was like, I remember texting PBD and being like, is your guy okay? Like, because it was serious. And some of the stuff that he was claiming, and you mentioned that he was a Christian. Most of the dinner that we had with him, a lot of it was him preaching, which I was like, I'm a Christian too. Like, I liked hearing him willing to take a stand. And he was talking about being a Christian warrior and how we need more men that are going to take stands. So I appreciated that. But then it would spiral off into some other bizarre place. And it was just a wild, wild night. So I do kind of root for him. I liked him. I like his passion. I think he's a very passionate person. I think he's passionate about Jesus. Like, I'm down with that. But he also seems like he has some demons for whatever it is. Like, he has some issues that are going on. And I think he's somebody worth praying for sure. Because I do think he can be a positive force if it's channeled the right direction. And he is, staying on the right path.
He seems to be so far. I mean, I think we all have our demons, right? Like, everybody has their own demons. Just some just come out a little more than others. And I think his are coming out on a very global platform, and we get to see everything.
Yeah.
Right? Can you imagine if the social media was around like when Michael Jordan was coming up?
Yeah.
Would Michael Jordan still be considered the GOAT? And I always say, I'm like, I don't think so.
Right. He'd have haters.
Right?
Yeah. And I think the biggest aspect is really the mental toughness. Like, I have a 13-year-old daughter, and we're trying to build up her confidence. She's probably the best athlete in my family. She's the youngest. She works really hard, but it is all between the ears for her. And I'm trying to tell her, I'm like, and she's negative self-talk, and it drives me nuts. I'll pick her up from practice. She'll be like, I had a horrible practice. I'm like, why? She's like, I just was horrible. I'm like, well, no, I'm sure it wasn't as bad as you make it out to be. And I think that's just a small example, but I think there's so much negativity coming to athletes as soon as they get in the spotlight. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't have made it. Like, hearing the negativity constantly, because if you have an account, and I don't care if it's a burner, whatever it is, somebody's going to find out. Somebody's going to say you suck, and those negative comments resonate more than 10 positive comments saying you're the best. And you hear that. It is a constant battle. I don't know how you stay off social media because it is a powerful tool. But I would tell, and I've told young quarterbacks that I've worked with or that I've talked to in college, stay off of it. Like, do have somebody in your family run your account. Do not look at the comments, but then somebody texts you something that was said about you. It's just impossible. And I think it's creating I mean, it already is. There's a mental crisis in our country, and I think a lot of it has to do with screens. But for athletes specifically, I think there is a crisis of confidence because of what they're dealing with on social media.
I 100% agree. I think that right now I'm training young kids. I also am a young father. I have 3 kids now. I have 18-month-old twin boys, 4 little girl. So I'm in the thick of that for sure. But I tell my athletes, I'm like, whether you can or you can't, you're generally right. And it's true. Like what's going through your mind is going to come out eventually. You can't be negative talking all the time.
Yeah.
Right. There's some athletes that will say some negative stuff to like motivate them. Fine. But I promise you, they're not talking negative all the time.
Yep.
There might be brief moments, but it's so true. And it's mental warfare. And I tell everybody, once you get to the pro level, everybody's good. I promise you, everybody's good, right? They're capable. It's whoever's mentally stronger separates themselves from everybody else. And that's when you see good athletes. You see good athletes, you see great athletes. And that's the difference. It's mental. It's between the ears. Because people ask me all the time, they're like, how much of boxing is mental compared to physical? I go as high as 90% mental, 10% physical. And I stand on that. And I promise you that, man, most of the time boxing, it's tough, man. Like it's tough mentally because you're on a global stage as a man. You don't want to get beat up in front of everybody. Right. But then also, you know that it could hurt too. Like,
right.
So, like I mean, I don't know who said this, but it's a famous saying probably for sure too. But it's like, don't believe everything that your supporters are telling you and don't believe everything that the haters are telling you.
Yep.
Because you're not as great as your yes men are telling you either. Right.
Yep.
And you're not as terrible as your haters telling you. So you got to find a balance. And I think that because of my father, and honestly, I didn't get to the level of Canelo Alvarez and Terrence Crawford, but because of my father kept me very level headed. I'm just like, he believed in me to a delusion to an extent, but it made me confident enough to be able to do all this stuff. And I didn't believe the haters. If I would have believed the haters, I wouldn't have been here.
Love it. That's awesome stuff.